Thank you. So all the survival outcomes we've been discussing, it's not that great. With survival in stage 1B is just around 65 to 75%. It is around 30 to 45% in stage 3A. So the recurrences are high, around 20% in stage 1 and 2, and up to 50% with stage 3A. And most recurrences occur in the first 2 years post-surgery. So surgery remains the cornerstone of treatment for resectable, eligible early stage lung cancers, and chemotherapy, as we've heard, adds only around a 5% OS benefit, either when given in the adjuvant or the NACT setting. Recent developments such as ADAURA trial have markedly improved outcomes. There are recently a lot of phase 3 trials which have demonstrated benefit of immunotherapy, initially in the adjuvant, now also in the neoadjuvant, now in the perioperative setting also. So coming to evolution, just a couple of lines. So initially there were phase 2 trials with single agent immunotherapy which were associated with marked increase in major pathological responses and pathological complete CR. With dual immunotherapies, that is nivolumab, ipilimumab together, the responses were much better but were also associated with higher toxicity. So hence immunotherapy single agent with chemotherapy, these trials came about. So chemo increases the antigen presentation, hence making immunotherapy more efficacious, and immunotherapy as such restores the immune environment. So this is just a table showing what all therapies have come. So these are few LCMC3 principles of few important trials where they use single agent immunotherapy in the neoadjuvant setting. NeoStar, which looked into nivolumab, ipilimumab, you can see that the major pathological and path CRs are very good. NeoCOAST trial where they looked at durvalumab with multiple targeted therapies, and more recently the Checkmate 816 based on which nivolumab is approved in the NACT setting. So why would we give neoadjuvant chemoimmunoimmune? That it downstages the tumor, treats the micrometastasis, enhances tumor response where the entire tumor is in situ, the tumor bulk is present and therefore antigens are also present. It gives us information about the responses and tumor biology. And also treatment compliance is better, and the surgical complications which we were worried about has been shown in trials such as Checkmate not to be higher, it's comparable. So these are 3 phase 3 trials which have shown outcomes, the AGEN and the Keynote 671 trials which are used in the perioperative setting, and the Checkmate 816 where you give nivolumab purely in the neoadjuvant setting. So why did trials look at major pathological response, that is less than 10% viable tumor, and pathological complete response as primary endpoints? Because each percentage point of viable tumor was associated with significantly worse DFS and OS. So this led to them being as surrogates to kind of predict outcomes later on. And meta-analysis have shown that the pooled major pathological response and path CR with neoadjuvant immuno and chemoimmuno are around 40 and 20% as against 4% with chemo alone. So with chemo, we couldn't really use this as a surrogate for EFS and OS. So this is the Checkmate 816 trial, which was a phase 3 open label trial wherein nivolumab was given 3 cycles along with 3 cycles of platinum based chemotherapy versus chemo alone in stage 1B to 3A. And the primary endpoints were PATH-CR and EFS. So the PATH-CR in the entire population was 24 versus 2%. The major pathological response was 36 versus 9%, so almost 4 times higher. And resection rates were all comparable. This is the EFS data, which was also recently updated. So EFS initially, the primary analysis showed 31 versus 20 months. The 3-year update shows that it's not reached versus 21 months. And you can see there's a persistent wide separation of curves, kind of rooting for nivolumab along with chemotherapy, and FDA has approved and it has come into guidelines. This is the AGN trial which looked at perioperative immunotherapy. So this was again this was from stage 2A. It also included N2 up to N2, that is 3B stage lung cancer patients, wherein they received durvalumab along with chemotherapy versus chemotherapy, 4 cycles. They were operated. If they were in the test arm, then durvalumab up to a year, or placebo in case they did not receive durvalumab. The primary endpoints were pathological complete response and event-free survival. So the PATH-CR was significantly higher, 17% versus 4%, and major pathological response was 33 versus 12%, which were significant. So the PATH-CR in all subgroups showed a benefit for chemoimmunotherapy. The event-free survival also shows a wide separation of curves. So it was 63% versus 52% at 24 months with a hazard ratio of 0.68. This is yet to be approved, but there are positive, this all has shown positive outcomes. This is a Keynote 671 trial which looked at pembrolizumab with platinum based therapy for up to 4 cycles, surgery and adjuvant pembrolizumab. and placebo surgery and placebo. This was again looked into stage 2 up to 3B stage lung cancers with N2 disease alone. So the primary endpoints in this particular trial, there were two primary endpoints, event-free survival and overall survival. The event-free survival was significantly higher. It was 62% was 42% at 40% at 2 years. The overall survival at this particular point has not reached significance, but we do see the separation of curves. The pathological responses, that is both the major pathological response and the PATH-CR is similar to the AGN trial. 30% versus 11% in the major pathological response, and PATH-CR was 18% versus 4%. So has immunotherapy been a game changer? Yes, it has bettered outcomes, especially in stage 3A, where we see maximum number of cases and higher, the maximum number of recurrences also. So PATH-CR, which we never saw with chemotherapy, we are seeing now, which is probably a surrogate for EFS and also probably OS. Cell-free DNA clearance, which has been shown. So the higher the cell-free DNA clearance is been associated with better outcomes such as EFS-OS. This was seen in the CheckMate trial with neoadjuvant immunotherapy prior to surgery. They reduce surgical cancellations because of significant downstaging and also thereby reduction in extensive surgeries such as pneumonectomies, and there are also increased R0 resections. So potential questions or pitfalls, if I may say. So we still don't know which biomarker to go by to kind of predict survival and responses. Side effects are still seen with addition of immunotherapy, although manageable. We need more data for borderline resectable. We'll have to interpret pseudo-progressions and hyper-progressions, because pseudo-progressions, they found that many times on resecting, in spite of imaging increase, they found that they are actually having good responses pathologically. And when radiation is added, such as Pancoast tumor, what are we going to do? That we need more data on. So adjuvant chemoimmuno trials, two important trials, the Keynote 091 trial and IMpower 010. So this is the IMpower 010 trial, which looked at adjuvant atezolizumab in resected stage 1B to stage 3 NSCLC with various PD-L1 levels. So the primary endpoint was disease-free survival in stage 2 to 3A in the entire intention to treat population, and stage 2 to 3A in those patients who carried a PD-L1 of 1% or more. So the DFS was improved in patients who had a PD-L1 of 1% or more and in the intention to treat population. So the hazard ratio was 0.66 for patients who had a PD-L1 score of 1% or more. Based on this, it was approved by the FDA. DFS was also improved. It was statistically significantly higher in stage 2 to 3A in all PD-L1 levels. It was 0.79. However, in the entire intention to treat population, that is irrespective of PD-L1 and stage 1B to 3A, it was not higher. For those patients carrying a PD-L1 of 50% or more, the hazard ratio was 0.43. So although FDA approved it based on the primary DFS endpoint that was met for stage 2 to 3A and for those patients who had a PD-L1 of 1% or more, the European Medical Agency has approved it only for patients who have a PD-L1 score of 50% or higher. This is the Keynote 091 trial or PEARLS trial, which looked into adjuvant pembrolizumab, again in resected stage 1 to 3A, 1B to 3A NSCLC. The primary endpoints were two, DFS in the entire population and DFS in those patients who carried a PD-L1 score of 50% or higher. So the hazard ratio was 0.76 in the entire intention to treat population, based on which it received approval. But surprisingly, for patients who had a PD-L1 score of 50% or more, the hazard ratio was 0.82, and it was not statistically significantly higher compared to the chemo alone population. So in the 50% or more population alone. So why it has happened, we don't know. The comparator arm performed much better. So as of now, FDA has given approval for stage 1B to 3A NSCLC for patients who have, for all patients irrespective of the PD-L1 score. So adjuvant immunotherapy benefits is that there's no delay in surgery. You're not worried about whatever complications which could occur, which could delay or cancel or complicate surgeries. They are manageable safety profiles. Potential to restore anti-tumor immune activity after resection, thereby prevent metastasis, and you given enough time post-surgery to recover. So these trials allowed inclusion up to 8 weeks to 12 weeks post-surgery before starting immunotherapy. So what we should give neoadjuvant, adjuvant or perioperative therapy, I think it's going to be a multidisciplinary approach, though now there is a more tendency to lean towards giving neoadjuvant immunotherapy with chemotherapy. Still, questions to be addressed is what is the optimal sequence? Is PFS good enough an endpoint? With trials such as PEARLS trial, that is a Keynote 01 trial, there was OS had not statistically reached significance. So clinical applications we still have to think of given the toxicity and cost, especially for up to a year. And those with higher PD-L1 didn't necessarily benefit, though it seems like it was a clinical outlier. So we'll have to exactly get better information as to know when to apply immunotherapy. This is the AATS 2023 expert consensus, which does say, that we should give neoadjuvant chemoimmunotherapy over adjuvant. So my conclusions are, again, immunotherapy has changed outcomes for early stage lung cancer. It has the potential to improve outcomes and reduce recurrence, but benefit of any single approach we'll only know when we have longer outcomes probably with us, longer data for that. Thank you.